Miss Eve, and you're selling a house.
Yeah. So it looks like we have 7 attendees. Let me put it to Facebook Live very quick so that we could broadcast it. Let me see. All right. Live webinar. So go live. All right, so we have okay. And looks like we're gonna be live right now. So let's see. All right, and we are live on Facebook.
Okay.
And everywhere else. So, hello everybody. This is Pavel with Virtue Desk and also designated broker of Nexus Realty, and we have Robert Smith here, who is a CPA. And he's specializing working with real estate brokers and in the state of Washington, I believe. And I don't know if you work with other agents all over the country or not, but here you are. And wanted to talk to you and ask you about this stimulus package. A lot of money. The Congress gave a lot of money to people. And just wondering if you had a chance to look at this and you can give your opinion on this and how agents can actually not exactly benefit, but to be able to, to stay afloat and get their business going. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a CPA licensed in California and in Washington. I primarily focus on the West Coast, but do have some clients throughout the country. And I do specialize in real estate agents. I find that most real estate agents could use a lot of assistance. And right now is particularly one of those times. So I'm assuming that if you're watching this webinar, that your business has kind of fallen off the cliff in the last month, and you're starting to wonder, what can I do to make it through the next month or two, or however long it might take. So let me get my screen shared here, and I gotta verify that that's happening.
We don't know how long it's gonna take, right, Robert? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's so interesting. We already have questions here. Loretta is asking, my question is, I read something on the SBA site. They said the loan for those who have employees, is that right? Some of the clients that asked me about if they hold to the property and the company name and they have rental loss. So can they apply?
So let me get going here.
Loretta, we'll answer that question as soon as we actually get to that point. Yeah. You can share your screen, Robert. Yeah, I know you have some slides.
I'm trying to.
So basically what's going on, the Congress enacted the law that give out $2 trillion to people. It's not only just to corporations like they did in 2008, where they bailed out the banks, where here whatever I've read and whatever I did my research, looks like this stimulus package is more of a people-oriented package, not exactly like big corporations and banks. So that's a good news. Also, we don't know if this $2 trillion is going to be enough. So right now, I'd say everybody needs to apply and and get going. And I want Robert to figure out his screen share so he can actually.
Yeah, I lost
show us.
the Zoom connection somehow.
No, you have a Zoom connection. You're here with us.
Well, oh, there it comes. Okay. No.
So basically, my understanding with this is that there are three types of loans or reliefs available to agents. It's a federal unemployment, it's a disaster loan, and also the Paycheck Protection Program. That's from what I understood. And most agents can probably right now apply for unemployment if you don't have employees. But you can also apply for a disaster relief. Go to the website sba.gov/disaster and apply so that you can get $10,000 advanced into your bank account to get you going on this. So I'm gonna share the.
Come on.
Yeah.
Can't find the share button anywhere.
Share bottom. Share button is in the bottom of your screen. Where
No,
it says share screen.
It's not there. That's my problem.
Why don't you email me your slides and I'll share them?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So we also have a question here. To receive any government money aid, is there a cap on income? The relief package was for income under 75K. No, Anastasia, this is for individuals. But if you're a business, there's no cap. And maybe Robert can explain that.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm emailing this presentation.
Yeah, send me the presentation and we'll share it here. Anastasia, you're confusing aid for individuals with businesses. If you have a business, it's different. You got to have an EIN number, which is a tax ID, and you need to be filing either as an LLC or a corporation, not individual. But if you are a 1099, I believe you can probably apply for something. Is that right, Robert?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I'm focusing in on this one thing. Be with you one second.
Yeah.
Documents. COVID. Open. And come on. And send.
Okay, good. So once you send it, I'll go ahead and share it.
Okay, and start on slide 10.
Okay. So meanwhile, can you answer questions that we have here?
Sure,
or maybe
sure.
maybe you could talk about the stimulus package and everything. What it's
Okay, I'll let me just kind of go for it. Okay, so
yeah, you were like distracted by this. You cannot multifunction like Julius Caesar does,
So,
and you're not a realtor. That's why you can't.
Right on Friday, Congress passed and the president signed this $2 trillion CARES package, and in it there was forgivable loans, funding tax credits and deferrals, and this was on top of some disaster loans that were available. So the real question is, how can you take advantage of it? So I don't know if you've been able to share those slides yet.
I am going to. You don't worry. You keep talking. You don't worry about me. I'm technologically inept.
Okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
I'm up to slide.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. So I'm moving to slide 14 at this point.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so basically I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, from my clients, I'm seeing that there are two types. There's people that are overly pessimistic and they don't see any end in sight, and others that are, I would call, really wishful thinkers and think that there's not going to be any problem at all. Personally, I think it's somewhere in the middle. but the question you need to ask yourself is, where would you fall yourself? And so go to slide 18. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, what's going to happen to your business if this goes on, say, 1, 2, or 3 months? And then next slide. Or if it takes longer, 4, 6, 9, 12 months. So
yeah, we don't know.
we really don't know. I would think if it's in the latter category, a lot of people are going to go out of business unless they do something. And hopefully it's only a month, but like, let's take the real estate industry. If you can't sell, for instance, for the next month, how long
You're
is
unemployed.
How long is it going to be to your next closing? Would it be 2 months, 3 months after
90 you probably 90 days, 120 days, because it takes about a month to close a deal, right?
Right. And you got to find the buyer and everything. So
yeah.
So hopefully you have people that you're got in stream, and obviously we really don't know, and so as a result, you kind of have to look at the whole range and try to figure out how to plan for that. So what I like to tell people is, you got to for sure keep your family safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to absolutely protect your business. Do everything you can to protect your business. So how can we use the CARES Act to do that?
How do we do that?
Yeah. Now, one thing you need to remember is disasters have come along years and years. And this really reminds me of the BP oil spill. In that BP oil spill, there was about $54 billion that was settled. The COVID-19 is expected to be 20 times that.
So we're talking in the trillions with a T.
Right.
Yeah.
Just as in the BP oil spill, by the way, I'm on slide 37, flawless loan applications need to be made in order to take advantage of all the tax credits, deferrals, and other incentives. The reason I got started down this path is I have an entire class of clients, real estate agents, that are basically like you, stuck at home. And you can only do administrative tasks so long, at which point you run out of work to do. So then you're sitting on your hands going, when can I get back to work? When can I get back to work? I'm sure you can do a lot of lining up call or work as soon as you're available. But it's frustrating that you can't really.
So basically, I mean, my understanding, Robert, I mean, people can, I mean, real estate agents, let's not talk what people, have to do. They all understand they have to apply for something and get some sort of relief. Could you talk to us what relief is available to real estate agents currently?
Sure.
Because we basically talking about realtors right now and also small business owners. We have a question right now. She says, I'm self-employed at salon. Don't work at the salon since March 16 because of the COVID-19. How and where can I apply for unemployment? Also, she's a real estate agent, so she's not selling anything and she's not working in the salon. So she's basically unemployed. So
okay. So
let's talk about what people can do.
So let's go to slide 40. Okay, so what's available today? And by the way, that second column there, which says law passed 15 days until available, technically that's going to be what's available tomorrow. Okay.
On the 3rd, yeah.
Yeah. So disaster loans can be applied for today, up to $2 million.
Okay.
You can get payroll tax credit if you have any sick employees, but for most people that doesn't apply. You can withdraw from your retirement penalty free. I tend to not recommend that. And you can defer payroll taxes. Well, that was until yesterday. So the disaster loan was in place before the CARES Act was signed. So
Okay.
what's available, let's call it tomorrow. You can get forgivable loans up to $10 million, and you don't have to pay those back. Now, the $10 million,
$10 million
is really misleading, because what it really is 2.5 times your payroll or the amount that you pay independent contractors.
Up to 10 million. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the lesser of.
Let's say we have certain we have right now mostly it's a real estate agent who is usually sole proprietor, or basically sole proprietor. So that's what can they do right now to get some boost to their business, so at least to survive, to be able to keep with marketing, to be able to work, or wait until the basic
if I was a real estate agent, I would probably immediately want to apply for the disaster loan.
Okay.
And a little bit later, I'll discuss what that covers. And then I would also tomorrow apply for the forgivable loan.
Okay.
And now, what's interesting about this forgivable loan is that, I don't know if you've gone to slide 45, there's an emergency grant of up to $10,000 within 3 days.
Yeah.
And
you just basically have to go to the website, apply, put your routing number, your account number, and they say it's going to be put in your bank account within 3 business days after you apply.
Right.
So,
and it's part of the application for this forgivable loan. And what's interesting is, if the SBA turns down your application for the forgivable loan, you don't have to pay back the $10,000 emergency grant.
So basically, you get some cash for free.
Yeah.
Good. So another question is asking here: what about unemployment benefits? Can real estate agents apply for unemployment benefits?
If they have been working more in the state of Washington, if you've worked more than 680 hours in the prior year, you could.
Which is absolutely. And how do they do that? How do they apply for unemployment benefits?
Go to the Employment Security Department.
Employment Security Department and apply for unemployment.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody's asking, how do we prove that we work those hours?
Well, that would be a function of having filed a FUTA return, or which is a 940 return.
So basically, do they look at, let me ask you a question, Robert. So does a real estate agent have to file taxes for 2019 prior to applying for unemployment to show what the actual, because I heard they can get up to $600 a week.
Yeah,
for federal unemployment, right?
Well, the answer is no, because your you can file for these based on your 2018 tax returns.
Okay.
However, if your 2019 has more income to you, you kind of want to get those done first so that you can get more money.
Okay, we have a question here from one person. Josh is asking, I applied for an unemployment, but they said I did not work the hours because I don't register my hours as an agent. So my question to Josh probably would be, if you have another job besides being an agent, you're not unemployed. So what is your response to that, Robert?
Well, okay. So in his particular case, if he's working as a self-employed, okay, let me back up. We have real estate agents that work as a self-employed person.
Yes.
We have real estate agents that work as an LLC, and we have real estate agents working in an S corporation. Okay, if they're in an S corporation, they have to pay themselves a salary, and so they would definitely be able to document it. An LLC, it's kind of a gray area, but you can pay yourself a wage there as well. Self-employed, it's
Well, there are two ways to actually show it. Either you do Schedule K or you do Schedule C, depending how you're incorporated. But let's say
right.
most agents probably on Schedule C, which is
Yeah.
distribution.
Now,
So,
this is kind of off the topic, but if you are in a self-employed situation and you're filing a Schedule C, what I could tell you is that you're paying at least 15% extra in taxes on your income than you would be if you were being taxed as an S corp. But that's off topic, so something we could always discuss at a later time.
so what would be a good advice for Josh, who applied for unemployment, and they say that he did not work the hours because he didn't register the hours as an agent?
I don't know what to tell him, how he could prove it. It would seem ridiculous if he has, let's say he had 150,000 in commissions. I mean, it's kind of like, well, this just didn't magically appear.
So, I mean, for Josh, probably the best way right now to apply for a disaster loan for you, just go and apply for a disaster loan on the website, and so you probably get at least 10,000. And I don't know if how you incorporate it.
Yeah. By the way, the disaster loan is not based on payroll.
It's not. Yeah.
The forgivable loan is based on payroll.
Yeah. So those who actually have payroll on the payroll, then we'll talk about it after this. But right now we have mostly people who are self-employed, and
that's why I said that for most real estate agents, I think that the disaster loan is the thing for them to apply for. If you're an S corp, then you want to apply for probably both.
Okay.
Let's see. If you go to slide 50, or 51 rather, there's additional stimulus bills coming down the pike, but we don't know exactly what's going to be in them.
What slide do you want me to go to?
It's 51.
Okay.
So all I can really kind of tell you there is, and you can see on that first bullet point on the right-hand side, it says Congress has passed 6.2 trillion, but you really hear about 2.
Yeah.
Well, the other 4.2 trillion went to the Federal Reserve, and exactly what they're doing with the money, I don't know. So let's go to slide 53. I'm going to talk about the forgivable loans quickly. Realistically, this whole section applies to you if you are an S corp. You can use this loan for payroll, rent, utilities, and mortgage interest, and you don't have to pay it back, and it's not included in your income.
Okay, so talk about it more. Talk to me. Explain it.
Okay. So the way that you get this loan is you take the last 12 months of your payroll.
Okay.
Divide by 12 to get your average monthly payroll, and you multiply times 2.5.
So we have a question. Can LLC apply for a forgivable loan? And that's the question you might want to answer to people.
If you had payroll.
If you have payroll, you can apply for a forgivable loan. Even that, let's say you're an LLC, but you are set up as an S corp, because it doesn't really matter. You're set up as a corporation, or you can apply for a forgivable loan. But let's say you are paying yourself payroll. Like I myself keep myself on a payroll. I have my wife on my payroll, so I can actually double what I can do. I can either apply for a PPP to get basically payroll protection for people on my payroll, which is my employees, myself, and my wife, or I can actually lay my wife off and have her apply for unemployment, and she'll be getting unemployment $600 a month.
And
I'm sorry, a week.
okay, now you just mentioned PPP, and I stayed away from that because it's jargon. For the PPP is the more technical name for what I'm calling the forgivable loan.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
it's payroll protection program.
Right. And if you go to slide.
And also, what about C corps? People say, can C corp apply? And again,
Yes.
they can.
Yeah.
Yes.
The answer is yes. And also, one of the things that I forgot to mention is that if you're paying independent contractors, you can apply for the forgivable loan.
So let's say you're, what independent contractors are we talking about? Let's say I'm a broker owner. I own a brokerage, and I have
Right.
1099.
So in that particular case, your forgivable loan is your payroll plus the 1099s that you issued to your
Contractors. So let's say somebody's working at my office, but that person is kind of a contractor, then that person can, obviously get, I can apply for a forgivable loan.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And what if I just have business expenses that, let's say, I have business expenses that need to be paid, but unfortunately, they're not 1099, but a company, but I can use a disaster loan for that, basically, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. And here's another thing that's interesting about this forgivable loan is it's multiplied times 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, and it's designed to pay your payroll for the next 8 weeks. And they kind of have a mathematical formula that 75% of it is for payroll and 25% is for rent, utilities, and mortgage interest. And whatever isn't used for that has to be paid back within 2 years at 0.5% interest.
0.5%.
Yeah, which is like free as far as I'm concerned.
It is, considering the rate of the. it is. It's a free money, folks. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah.
Anyway, you can't just get $10 million if you want it. It's based on the size of your business and your
Let's say your monthly payroll is about $100,000 a month for all the employees you have. So you probably will be able to get 250,000 basically.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's how it works.
Yeah. If you go to slide 56. It says on 56 that the calculation is based on the size of your business, which is basically your current payroll and the amount you pay contractors.
Correct. So the amount you pay contractors, they will probably, you can throw in your. So let me ask you a question. So the forgivable loan, is that based only on what you pay out to contractors and employees, or it also includes your rent and utilities and mortgage? Or if you, let's say,
for the purposes of calculating how much you get, it's based on payroll and the amount you pay contractors. Then what you can use it for is for paying payroll, rent, utilities, and mortgage interest.
Okay. Goal is asking, she's like, can you repeat the calculation again? Yes, Goal. So basically, you can apply if you have employees, even yourself, okay, and you have, let's say, rent for your office, I'm not sure about home office, but Robert will touch on this, utilities and mortgage interest for your business, you can apply for that amount. It's basically 2.5 times. So let's say your monthly payroll and let's make it $10,000 a month as your monthly payroll plus your rent. So you can get 25,000 basically to get you going through eight weeks. Yeah,
precisely.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's go to slide
And
50.
Josh is asking, contractors include accountant, stagers, bookkeeper, lawyer. All these will be contractors. That would, what would be, what would
Well,
other contractors?
I'm
I think this
thinking,
is vendors.
yeah, it it was more originally designed, like, for instance, let's say you're in the construction business and you're a uh, um, general contractor,
Mm-hmm.
and you pay a bunch of subs.
Okay.
Uh, However, but it would also apply to real estate agents if you have, for instance, you're a brokerage or you have team members that you're paying directly out of your proceeds, and
Mm-hmm.
you 1099 them. That would be something that would work for you.
Okay.
So in order to get that,
Let me ask you another. We have another question. I'm sorry, Robert.
okay,
So we have a person's asking if you have been in the business a few months and have not written any business yet. So basically, no real estate income to show. So what do you? So what do you do?
oh, okay, if you've only been in business, say, since the start of the year,
Disaster loan.
yeah, they will look at what you've done since the start of the year. So they'll take basically January and February
Okay.
and
Yeah.
use that calculation.
Yeah, but meanwhile, apply for a disaster loan. And
Yes, definitely.
yeah. And somebody's asking, so to be clear, real estate agents have to apply for a disaster loan versus unemployment. Not necessarily. You can apply for both, I think, right?
Yeah, it depends on your specific situation. If you're paying payroll to anybody, and if or paying any contractors.
Let's say Yelena has a virtual assistant that she's paying to the as a 1099, so you can apply for it, to get money for yourself to get your business going.
Yes.
So Yelena can go back to actually activating your virtual assistant because you'll be able to get money in your hands. Somebody's asking, what if we pay cash to landscape contractors or handyman, for example, for rental property? How does that work?
Okay, if you were doing that, I would, especially if you did it last year, even though there's potentially a $50 per 1099 penalty for late filing of your 1099s, I would file those 1099s, because if you can get a big loan at a 0.5% interest, I would much rather do that and pay the $50 penalty.
Exactly.
And not pay the $50 penalty and not be able to get the loan.
Exactly. Yes.
So, and that's my advice. This is probably one of those cases where you want to be in full compliance so that you can get the most amount of relief.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And by the way, it's quite possible that the IRS won't penalize anybody because
we got a weird situation, Robert.
Yeah, exactly.
We've never been in this situation before, and it's not like economy is bad or economy, fundamentally something is really wrong there, but it's just we have a health crisis, not an economic crisis. So,
right.
But the health crisis kind of pushed us into this situation we're in because it's more of a pause button. I think once the play button is pushed back, it's just going to go back to normal.
Yeah. It's interesting on the slide that I can see that you're showing the part in green you can't see.
Yeah. Question, Mike. My question was, if I'm in a business before January 2020, 10 months to be exact. So basically this person's been in a business for 10 months, but hasn't generated any sales, hasn't closed any deals. My recommendation, apply for a disaster loan, probably. And, and because you need to get business going, and right now you have your own business, you have advertising expenses, and you cannot do it right now. So why don't you do that? Apply for a disaster loan and see what happens. Yeah,
I agree with you. Here's the advantage of applying for the disaster loan. At a minimum, you're going to get $10,000. Okay, yes. Even if they turn down your loan, you're going to get $10,000.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to pay it back.
Right. I mean, you almost hope that they say, no, we're not going to give you the loan because then that 10,000 is completely free.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can go to line or slide 60.
60.
60.
Okay.
Okay, well, 0.3 for whatever reason you can't see. Anyway, you need for this loan, up-to-date information, got to go through underwriting, and then the most important thing, which it looks like everything that's in red you can't see on the slide, is for the loan to be forgiven, you have to prepare an accounting package showing you've dispersed the funds in accordance with the loan covenants. And
so that's the most tricky part for a lot of people.
yeah, and
You have to make sure you speak with an accountant to get it going, to make sure that you are doing everything correctly, applying the funds. You cannot just take the money and take a vacation. No, or go buy a new car. It has to be spent on
payroll, rent, utilities, or mortgage interest.
Exactly. As far as the disaster loan, you can take this money for pay other services. If you have let's say you have an advertising expense you need to pay, you can do that.
Okay, we'll go to the disaster loan next. Let's go
to forgivable. Yeah.
Go to slide 65.
Okay, another question from Loretta. If they apply to this forgivable loan, the current employees can't be laid off then? No, Loretta, you can lay off people and get the forgivable money as well. So that's the whole idea, is to keep people on the payroll so you don't lay them off. So they can work for you, you keep them on the payroll, and you get this money to actually pay them. That's the whole idea.
That's the purpose, yeah. And there's also, we'll talk about it a little bit later, there's some credits for each employee.
Remember, guys, do not lay off your people. People also need to eat. They need families to feed. And that's the whole idea. The Congress is giving you money so you can actually keep your people on the payroll and get the economy going. And somebody's asking, what if you close your S Corp January 2020?
If you closed it on January 2020.
How did you close it? Did you file taxes for 2019? You probably, Why don't you send a message directly to Robert? This is from Ray Wu. Ray, why don't you send a message directly to Robert, and he will discuss this with you privately.
Yeah. As long as, I'll at the very end, I think there's a slide with my email address and contact information.
Yeah, and also, why don't you do that, and Robert will be able to privately answer that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me send you, Robert, let me send Ray your email. What's your email? So I'll send him.
rsmith
at
nextgenacct.com.
So I just send him your email, so he'll respond to you. He will write you an email and ask specific questions, and I think that's the way to do it.
Okay, now let's start going through the disaster loan, because this is the loan I think really applies to most of you. Okay, so first off, it can be used to fund all business operations except growth.
So basically the current operations, you cannot put it for growing your business.
Yeah.
Only maintain the current one. Okay.
Yeah. Now, you do have to pay this loan back.
The disaster one?
Yeah, the disaster.
Which slide am I? Okay, right here.
I'm on slide 66.
Okay.
On 67, you can get both loans. However, the disaster loan does not cover payroll, rent, utilities, and mortgage interest, which is what the other loan's all about.
Okay.
Um, let's see, go to 69. The disaster loans are available today. I forgot to mention the forgivable loans are available tomorrow.
Yeah, if you guys wanted to apply for a forgivable loan, make sure that you do it tomorrow first thing, because the application starts. They start accepting application tomorrow. I already spoke with my banker. We're ready to go. We're applying for that. Also, go ahead to the website and apply for the disaster loan. If you have any questions, you should probably speak with Robert directly. He can, if as far as the forgivable loan, you do need to. You cannot just go to the link and apply. So make sure you reach out to Robert, and he will guide you through how to do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all the information in hand. You have all the accounting lined up correctly, because Robert's got to be busy guy right now. So make sure you reach out to him directly and schedule time. He's working overtime right now to get this going. Okay.
Right. Okay. So let's see. Anyway, because of these different due dates for the different types of loans, and by the way, the disaster loans have been available for some time. And the original amount,
the realtors just haven't heard of him.
Yeah, the original amount was about $8 billion. I don't know if that's going to be increased at all. So I would recommend filing absolutely as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
The disaster loan does take a little bit more documentation than the forgivable loan. Okay. So both loans go through the Small Business Administration.
Yep.
And however, they're being, the SBA is partnering with banks in order to roll this out, because the scale of this is so huge. I mean, $2 trillion. If the SBA was going to handle this themselves, no one would get their money until, 3 months from now.
So we have a question from Josh.
Okay.
He says, what if you have an LLC that has 120,000 of payroll plus 1099 contractors, 10,000 per month at 2.5 points, it's $25,000 loan. Then this would have half a point interest, or you would have to spend all the money on payroll and or mortgage interest and rent.
Okay. No. So how much did you say your monthly payroll was?
He said monthly payroll plus 1099 contractors is $10,000 a month.
Okay. So both of those combined is considered payroll.
Yeah. 1099 contractors and people that you have on payroll is basically considered payroll. So you can throw it in, and you get a $25,000 loan, which you do not have to pay back if you. This is a PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, the forgivable loan. If you don't have to pay it back if you use it for that specific purposes, to cover the payroll. If you don't lay people off,
Let me go into a little bit better detail. Let's pretend that you borrowed $100,000, and over the 8-week period of time after you received the money, you spent it on the things that you were allowed to spend it on. And so now you have $20,000 that you haven't spent yet. That $20,000 would need to be repaid to the SBA over a 2-year period at 0.5% interest.
Okay.
But only $20,000 of the $100,000 loan. And the other way that you could theoretically do that is, if everything worked out great for you, you could either just pay the money back all at once. You could theoretically invest it, whatever you want to do. But it's going to have to be paid back anyway.
Wait, just go back. My understanding, the forgivable loan, are we talking about the forgivable loan?
Yeah,
Forgivable
the
loan
forgive.
doesn't have to be repaid if you use the money specifically for that purpose, which is,
Right. That was
yeah,
my example. I was saying that
yeah.
you only used 80,000 of the $100,000 loan. So then you have 20,000 that you do have
And
to pay
that
back.
converts to a note, a 10-year note, right?
2 year.
A 2-year note
Yeah.
at half a point, right?
Yeah.
So basically you have, let's say you get 10,000. Okay, Josh, so you answer your question. You get a 10,000 payroll. You get 25 grand loan. You only use up 20 of that 25 grand. So the 5,000 becomes due within 2 years at half a point interest. That's how it works. So my thing would be, Robert, is basically if I would in the situation, I get this money and I don't use up everything for the payroll. Let's say somebody quits, okay?
Mhm.
So I have this money sitting at the end of the loan term, and whatever money you don't use, just pay it back right away, and you don't have to pay any interest, or use it. It's actually better than any credit card debt you would have, or any
Yeah, I
loan.
mean,
It's basically free money. Use it in the economy. Make the economy go around.
yeah, it would almost make sense if you had a credit card balance, for instance, pay off your credit card and
Yeah.
and and then you have, you've got to pay it back at 0.5%, which is
Yeah, which is
unbelievably low.
a bargain. Exactly, not a
Right.
bargain. It's basically for free.
Yes. So, okay, now remember the disaster loan, which is the one that I'm fairly certain that all of you can get, is a loan that you do have to pay back.
Okay.
Now, when you apply for the disaster loan, if you do not qualify, and if you did request the $10,000 advance, you don't have to pay back the
10 grand.
10,000.
And this is Loretta just shared this. She says, I saw this on SBA's site for disaster relief for COVID-19. Please clarify. In response to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, small business owners in all U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and territories are eligible to apply for economic injury disaster loan advance of up to $10,000. This advance will provide economic relief to businesses that are currently experiencing temporary loss of revenue. Funds will be made available within 3 days of a successful application. This loan advance will not have to be repaid. And that's exactly what you just said. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you guys experiencing economic injury because your business suffered, you need to go to the website, apply, get this 10 grand at least, so you could so you could at least pay some of your expenses that you have. Remember, this is not for your luxury money. This is money to help your business, basically.
Okay. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is there's only so much money that Congress has authorized. And I perceive that there's going to be a whole bunch of people applying for these loans starting tomorrow. The question is, how long will that money still be available?
Exactly.
I mean, I think if you wait a month, your probability of getting anything is low. So the sooner you apply, the better off you are, and which is, for people like myself, is maddening, because it's worse than tax season for me, because it's like everything's got to probably be done within a week.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, it is what it is. So all I can tell you is my recommendation to you is, if you're interested, make an appointment with me. We can discuss your specific situation and figure out what we can do.
That's right. Yeah, that's the best course of action. And guys, remember, you don't have time right now. I mean, if you want to apply for the forgivable loan, which is the application is going to start being accepted tomorrow. So if that happens, the system's going to be just overrun. So
Right.
You need to be ready, and guess which applications they're going to be accepting first, those that are actually in order. If something is missing, they're just going to put it in the back burner. They're just going to put it at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, or does this get rejected? Which is kind of one of the things I'm trying to focus on, is make sure that the application itself is perfect before we hit the submit button.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, so this is imperative, guys. You know,
Yeah.
but make sure right now just apply for the disaster loan so you can get at least get that. And if you are applying for PPP, the forgivable loan, I know Robert doesn't like me to call it PPP, but
No,
that's
no,
what it is. But that's what it
totally,
is.
that's the technical name. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's a
Right.
PPP, and you need to apply for that. Doing proper steps of doing that, so you can actually keep your employees and 1099 contractors on the payroll.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, like when this disaster hit, everybody's knee-jerk reaction was to lay everybody off. Okay, I'm proud to say that I haven't laid off a single employee I have. Nobody got laid off from my company. Okay, because I know we can go through and yeah. And Josh is asking, Robert has a lender that can make sure our application is perfect and can work with us. Yes, Josh, reach out to Robert and he can work with you. And you have
I have a list of about 100 lenders.
7A, it has to be 7A approved, right?
Right. And here's the thing about them. It's preferable to go through the bank you already have, but sometimes those banks don't do it. And the other big issue at the present moment is most banks the branches aren't open. So it's only going to be done electronically.
Yeah.
So anyway, the scale of this whole thing is really huge. Our understanding of it has changed over the last week and a half.
So people can actually still apply for unemployment, realtors, because for some reason it looks like realtors think they cannot, and I think they can. You just have to go to your state unemployment and apply. And I mean, so basically, let's just line. Yeah.
You're going to have to be able to prove that you worked the minimum number of hours, bottom line. And how you're going to be able to document that, I'm not
and keep in mind, and keep in mind, when you apply for unemployment, it's only up to your next closing. When you have a closing, you're already employed. You're no longer unemployed. Just keep that in mind, because you already got the commission check, so your unemployment stops right there. That's my understanding, right, Robert?
Say that again.
Okay, if you're, let's say, an agent and you are applying for unemployment, you get your unemployment, $600 a week. But once you get your first closing after you applied, your unemployment stops because you're no longer unemployed. You're getting, paycheck from somebody.
Right.
So same thing, like let's say you're an agent and you also work somewhere. Let's say you work as somewhere as an Uber driver. Well, guess what? You're already employed. You cannot apply for unemployment on your real estate site and keep working somewhere else. Once you start working somewhere else, you're already employed.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Okay.
So let's go to slide 77. So it's dealing with other key provisions. And the first one is you can defer 100% of your payroll taxes. So if let's say you're an S corporation and you're paying yourself a salary, the payroll taxes can be deferred 50% to next year and 50% to the following year after that. You can get, if you're married filing jointly, $2,400 back, or if you're single, $1,200, and that's based on your taxes. And the IRS, if they have your, just a second, if they have your bank and routing number, that money will be sent directly to you. You don't have to do anything to get that money. If you had losses in 2018, 19, or 20, we can amend your tax returns going back 5 years and get cash back from those.
Okay.
This is kind of cool. If you've been in the business the last few years, find it difficult to believe, if you were even remotely successful, that this even applies to you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you have employees, you can get a payroll tax credit up to $10,000 per employee. Now, the thing about this particular credit is exactly how that's going to be implemented, have not yet figured out. I'm assuming that it's going to be a credit on your tax return when you file it at the end of the year. However, it could be a credit off of your payroll taxes. Not certain how that's going to be implemented. One of the problems with this bill is that
a lot of unknowns, and a lot of CPAs not quite sure what to do right now.
Exactly how it's going to be implemented by the government is a little bit up in the air. Yeah. So, and then we've already talked about this, but when you apply for the disaster loan, you can get a $10,000 advance within 3 days. And if you're later denied, you don't have to pay it back.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you go and apply for this, at least for this 10K right now.
Yeah. You know. Now here's one caveat to that.
Yeah.
If all of the money's been dispersed already, and you apply,
there won't be any money.
Yeah, you won't get the 10,000.
Exactly.
So it's one of those, got to do it as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
Now, the sixth point, which is,
and if you have two businesses, or like some people we know, you should apply for both businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the sixth point about taking money out of your retirement up to 10,000 or 100,000 and not having to pay the early withdrawal penalty. Now,
would you recommend doing that?
I would consider that your absolute last resort, because you're still going to have to pay income on that 100,000 that you take out.
Oh, you do?
Yes. You just don't have to pay the penalty,
which is 10% usually. Yeah, the withdrawal. Right. Let's say somebody has a Roth IRA. Let's say I have some money in the Roth IRA, and I want to take it out, but I don't have to pay 10%, but I still have to pay income tax on that, right?
Right.
I mean, the whole idea for your retirement account is so you don't pay taxes on that money that you actually stash away. But if once you take it out, once you touch that money, that basically becomes taxable income.
Now, the thing about this that's also not clear is if your money is in a Roth investment vehicle, where technically when you take money out of a Roth, it's not subject to tax, but you're supposed to be 59 and a half, and you're supposed to have had it in a Roth for at least 5 years before you can take it out. And I'm not sure exactly how that applies to 0.6. So,
got it. So let's talk about the process. How can people apply?
Okay. Okay. So right now, if we were doing this one-on-one, I'd be calling this our strategy session. And then I would, as soon as we agreed to do something, I'd get to you a list of all of the information I need. So basically, I have 5 steps here. At the present moment, I'm trying to compress everything into about 2-3 days tops.
Okay.
And I try to get all the information. Then I would set up a Zoom meeting, and we would complete everything online, because there is a spot where you have to certify that the information is correct. And I can't certify for you, because it's basically signing a loan document.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself. Yeah.
And so we would fill it all out, and then I would share. I'd have my screen shared, and then we have a point at which we'd say, okay, click here or whatever it's basically a DocuSign, and and then we'd hit the submit button, and we would be done. So when I first was doing this, I was perceiving potentially a week or two to get it all done, but realistically, that's just not going to happen. Everything is really compressed in time. So if you go to slide 86, I'm kind of recommending that we put a little bit higher energy investment to make sure everything is absolutely perfect, so that you get the most amount possible, and which is not stated, and that your application is not rejected.
Got it. So basically, you have to make sure you do everything right on the application.
Right.
Yeah.
So go to slide 88. This is if I'm, well, actually, I'm going to let's skip down to slide 102. So if I'm helping you out, this is basically 3 levels of service that I'd be providing you. One is for getting the forgivable loan. One is for doing the disaster loan. Also, what's not stated is that it could be the forgivable or the disaster, and then the various credits available with the CARES Act, and everything has to be applied for.
Robert, can you share your phone number so we could share it in your website? I mean, your email and your phone number, so that people can reach out to you directly for
Sure.
For the information, what you could do.
Click on slide 103. I anticipated this.
Yeah. There we go. 104. So guys, here's Robert's information. You need to schedule an appointment with him to get this going, to get his pricing, and to find out, I mean, what he can do for you and what you may be eligible for. His phone number is 206-596-2500. Mobile is 206-383-0899. So make sure you guys take a screenshot of that. Just write down, just take your phones out and take a screenshot of this information. And I want you to go to this email and send Robert an email, schedule a session, because trust me, he's got to be a busy guy, and you need to get there. Okay. You need to be there. All right.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of my presentation at the present moment. So I'd just like to open it up to any questions you guys might have.
Yeah, make sure, and you can reach out to, just reach out to Robert directly. Go to the his email, or do you respond to text messages on your cell phone?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Realistically though, I don't know if you can read it, but right under my email address is a link that connects with my calendar that you can schedule an appointment.
Let me try to share it here, and I don't think I'll be able to share it, but he's got a Zoom calendar, so you can guys get on his calendar and schedule an appointment. You have to do it today, like right now. So after we're done with this webinar, I want everybody go and reach out to him. If you're out of state, reach out to him. Do you service out of state people as well?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Out of state, if you guys not in the state of Washington, reach out to Robert and get this going, guys. This is a serious matter, and trust me, this money is not going to be around for a very long time.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be working quite late tonight.
Yeah. Loretta is asking, my previous question, some client hold property with a company name, can they apply for a disaster loan? If they have EIN number, yes, they can.
Oh, okay.
If it's an L, yeah. Why don't you answer that?
Yeah, I'm. Do you mean like it's a rental property or something like that?
Most likely it's a rental property, so.
Well, yeah, you probably could, if, for instance, you're paying contractors for maintenance and stuff similar. I have rental properties, and I don't have any payroll. I mean, all of the revenue off of it is just going to myself. Now you could apply for a disaster loan if people couldn't pay you your rent,
Yeah.
and so you've had a decrease in your revenue all of a sudden. But you're not going to be able to get the forgivable loan. I don't see the logic to that.
Yeah. So you can get a disaster loan, but not a forgivable PPP because you don't have a payroll.
Right.
Basically, that's the idea. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other questions?
That's all I have. We've actually spent about an hour. Interestingly,
Okay.
went very fast, but it's a lot of interesting information. So I want everybody to to reach out to Robert and to. Okay, we have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Okay, so to receive any government money aid, is there a cap on income? The relief package was for incomes under 75K. No, Anastasia, you're confusing business with personal. This is the 75,000 income is to receive stimulus check, not this. So
On the PPP loan or the forgivable loan, there, for the purposes of calculating how much they'll loan you, if your payroll for any one person is more than 100,000, it'll be limited to 100,000 for purposes of calculating that. So
makes sense.
Let's say you had two people and one made 150 and one made 75. You'd take 175.
No, she's confusing. I mean, her question relates to what she heard in the news about stimulus checks going out to households. This is not what we're discussing here, Anastasia. We're discussing what businesses can do to survive. The stimulus checks, yeah, we're not even discussing this right now. Stimulus checks are capped at 75 per individual, but we're not going to even mention this right now.
Yeah. And there is a kind of like a phase out on that as well.
Yeah.
So
nobody's eligible. A realtor is usually not eligible for that because we make too much money.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Let's hope. There's a lot of realtors that actually don't make very much money because they don't work it.
You know it very well because you work with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, make sure you got us handled today. If you are, not sure about something, reach out to Robert, talk to him. If you don't know if you heard what you heard, but you're still not sure, yeah, Robert or me, reach out. I mean, I'll be sure to direct you to him. And if you have any business expense, if you hired a virtual assistant, let's say, or you have a other vendor that you have to pay for your business, you could use a disaster loan for that. You cannot use PPP loan for that, forgivable.
I can see that a couple of people have already scheduled appointments. So this is very good. All I can tell you is I won't go through the whole deck again with you. What we'll do is
if you guys were on particulars. If you guys been on this webinar, you already know what this is all about. So Robert will just dive in to discuss your particular situation and get you going on this.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, Robert, for your time. It's been very helpful, man.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.